Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast. My name is Nathan Stroud, and today we're going to be going over Orioles and Braves Game 3. This was the series finale of this three-game series against Atlanta. The Orioles won Game 1, they won Game 2 to win the series, and they were going for the sweep, and they finished the job. They get the job done, and they sweep the Atlanta Braves on the road in Atlanta in a much needed, not only series win, but sweep. The Orioles needed a sweep in the mix, not only a series win, but a sweep, and they get the job done in Atlanta against the Braves. A big win, a big win today, big sweep in general. The Orioles now sit 9 games below 500. They're back to single digits for like the second time in the past month, so they're making progress. They're getting things done. They've won 3 in a row. They have a day off today, and then they play tomorrow, starting their series against the Mets. And it's going to be interesting. That series is going to be interesting. We'll talk about that a little bit later in this episode. But I do want to go over this game that happened yesterday between the Orioles and the Braves. Again, the Orioles win this game 2-1 to sweep this series against the Braves. A low-scoring affair, very much a pitcher's duel in this game. But thankfully, Trevor Rogers is really proving himself to possibly be the ace of this Orioles team, which I never thought I'd say. But he has been so excellent all season. He continues to be so dominant this year. And Trevor Rogers, it is still a small sample size. It's only 5 starts this year. But he has been excellent all season long. His worst start, I think, was like 3.1 innings and 3 runs given up, where he just got worked that game against Tampa. But other than that, he's been excellent. The other 4 starts, he's literally been lights out, literally been excellent. His ERA is incredible. I mean, there's not enough good things I can say about Trevor Rogers, man. He has been incredible all season long so far in the small sample size of games that he started for the Orioles. If you want to go back and look, at the trade when we got him last trade deadline, little less than a year ago, at this time, where we traded Cal Stowers and Connor Norby for Trevor Rogers. And I do want to just quickly shout out I want to quickly shout out Kyle Stowers for making the All-Star game for the Marlins. He made it as a reserve, so shout out to him. Obviously, he was with the Orioles for pretty much his entire career up until this point. He's had a fantastic season with the Marlins. I want to say shout out to him. Super happy that he's getting the opportunity to shine in Miami, and that he's taking advantage of it, because in Baltimore he really didn't have any sort of room, just because we had positions filled with his same position. So it's really cool to see him go out there and thrive and do well in Miami, and I'm super happy for him. Obviously, if an Oriole ever leaves, you always, root for them. If it's not on bad terms, you always try and root for them as much as you can. So shout out to Kyle. But when we traded for Trevor Rogers last year, I think he only started 6 starts for us, and he was horrible in all 6 of them. We sent him back down to AAA. He was horrible there. Then he got hurt. Then during spring training this season, or this offseason, he got hurt. And he started off the season in AAA, and he was horrible in AAA. We had to call him up because of injuries to our pitching staff, and we literally were forced to call him up. In the first game against Boston, he was excellent. We sent him back down, called him back up, and he's been up ever since. He's been excellent, man. I mean, there's really not enough good things I can say about him. And at the end of the day, Trevor Rogers really just might be... He just might be that guy. I really never even thought that I would say that Trevor Rogers is the potential ace of this team, but he's been excellent all season long in the small sample size of games that he's had, and he's really starting to look like the player that Mike Elias traded for, and the guy that this Orioles coaching staff really thought that he could be. He's still young, he has potential, and he's really showing off the potential here recently. Not only has he been limiting the runs, but he's really been pushing innings as well. So, Jackson Holliday also in this game. Again, this was a low-scoring game. The Orioles won this game 2-1. Jackson Holliday accounted for all of the Orioles' runs scored in this game. He had a 2-run homer in the 3rd inning, and those were the only runs the Orioles scored all game. Jackson Holliday also had a 4-hit day. He was excellent. We'll go over more of that in a second, but let's just get into this game. So going over this Orioles and Braves game, again, the Orioles win this game 2-1 over the Atlanta Braves. The Orioles record now sits at 40-49 on the year. They're 9 games below 500. And I'll tell you, that 40-49 looks a hell of a lot better than a 39-50 would. So Happy that the Orioles brought this back down to single digits. And I mean, again, last series against the Rangers, I said what I said about how they just don't have any fight, but they really bounced back this series and showed a lot of fight. All of these games were close in this series. Again, the Orioles won the first game 3-2. They won the second game 9-6, and then they won yesterday 2-1. And they swept the Braves in the only 3 games they played them this season. So it was a season sweep also against Atlanta. The Orioles were down a few times in the series, but they were able to come back and win. They were able to win the close bouts, which really tells a lot to the team and, their mindset moving forward throughout the season. And it's really cool to see them fight and want to win games because, I think they understand that they have the staff and they have the team to go out there and do it. They just have to collect wins and go on a stretch of good games, which is what they've struggled with a lot this season and the reason why they're also in the position that they are right now. But going over the offense today, starting off with the offense, the Orioles in this game put up 6 total hits, went 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position, but it was enough. Again, only 2 runs scored in this game, but it was enough to win the game because thanks to the pitching being excellent today, the Orioles offense didn't have to do much. But speaking of the Orioles offense in this game, it was literally all Jackson Holliday. The Orioles in this game had 6 total base hits. Jackson Holliday accounted for 4 of those 6 total hits as a team. Out of 9 batters, Jackson Holliday accounted for 4 of the 6 total hits in this game by the Orioles. The Braves actually out-hit the Orioles 7-6, but Jackson Holliday in this game, an excellent game, absolutely excellent game. Probably his best game of the season so far, up there with one of the best games of the season. Jackson goes 4 for 4 with a 2-run homer in the 3rd inning. So he accounted for 4 of the 6 total hits in this game by the Orioles, and he also drove in the only 2 runs scored by the Orioles in this game due to a 2-run homer in the 3rd inning. So 4 for 4, a 2-run home run, 2 RBIs. He was excellent all game long. He literally put this Orioles offense on its back and, obviously scored the 2 runs with the home run, and the pitching was excellent, so they were able to obviously be a huge part in why the Orioles win this game. But Jackson Holliday also had an amazing game, 4 for 4, excellent game by him. So that means that there was only 2 other base hits in this game across the 8 other batters, and those other hits were from Ramon Laureano with he went 1 for 3, and Jacob Stallings, who is the 5th string catcher for the Orioles, and he also went 1 for 3. Everybody else didn't get a hit. Gunnar, Ryan O'Hearn, Ramon Urias, Colton Cowser, Cedric Mullins, and Kobe Mayo. None of those guys got a hit, but Kobe Mayo was on base during the Jackson Holliday 2-run home run. He got on base due to a walk, and that was, ended up being, a huge walk because Jackson was able to drive him in. So, it's the little things. It's the little things that matter in baseball because, obviously baseball's a funny sport sometimes. But, this offense was, not obviously great at all today, but Jackson Holliday had an elite game. He's proving why he is going to be the future of this team. He's proving why he was the number 1 overall pick. He's proving why he was the number 1 overall prospect. And he's proving why, again, he is going to be a superstar one day. And he's only 21 years old, and he's doing this, having 4 for 4 games. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And you can even say that he was an all-star snub to not be a reserve second baseman. Brandon Lau got it. He's having a great year as well. But Jackson was voted in, was the second most voted person for the starting, and he didn't get it because Gleyber Torres got it. But we'll see what happens with that. But the Orioles offense in this game, obviously not great. Jackson accounted for 4 of the 6 hits and also scored 2 of the runs. So shout out to him. Had an excellent game today. But going over to the pitching, the real stars of this game, obviously Jackson Holliday, star on offense, but the Orioles pitching were the stars in this game today. Trevor Rogers, where do I even begin? He gets the win in this game. He's 2-0 on his 5 starts this season. And Trevor Rogers in this game goes through 6.2 innings, gives up 4 hits and 2 walks, 0 earned runs, and has 6 strikeouts in the process. And I'll say that one more time. He gives up 4 hits and 2 walks, 0 runs, and 6 strikeouts in almost 7 innings of work. An 88 pitch count across 6.2 innings is not bad at all, and he lowers his ERA to a 1.57 ERA across 5 starts this season. And I do just want to quickly highlight Trevor Rogers this season in his 5 starts. So Going over to his 5 appearances this season by the Orioles. In the first game he played for Baltimore, he went 6.1 innings, gave up 2 hits, no walks, no runs, and had 5 strikeouts. And we won against Boston. So he's technically 4-1 in his starts. And then against Tampa, this was the first, real bad start he had this season. He only got through 2.1 innings, gave up 5 hits, 3 runs, and had 3 walks. And he had like a 71 pitch count across 2 innings. Like, he was just getting work that game. But his past 3 starts, he went 8 innings scoreless against the Rangers. Then he went 5.1 innings, gave up only 2 runs in that game against the Rangers again. And then today he goes yesterday he goes 6.2 innings, gives up 4 hits, 2 walks, and 0 runs. So in his last 3 starts combined, he's given up only 2 runs in his last 3 starts. He has a 1.57 ERA. He has been excellent this season. And I mean, to be honest with you, over the past few weeks, he's been not only just a serviceable rotation piece, he has been the best pitcher for the Orioles by far. And I'm going to be honest, I mean, I'll say it now, he is the pitcher that I trust most on this Orioles pitching staff. And he's not going to be getting sent back down to AAA, I would think, probably for the rest of the season. Unless he really spirals out of control, which hopefully that doesn't happen. But Trevor Rogers, excellent season so far. If he keeps this up, then the Orioles really have a shot to maybe get back into this, because they've been looking for that pitcher who can really just go out there and do well like this, and that's what they've been missing. That's a big thing that they've been missing, because it also takes the stress off of a lot of the other pitchers as well, instead of all being kind of crowded in the same box of not doing good. So we'll see what happens moving forward. Again, the Orioles sweep the Braves in this series. They're 40-49 on the season. There's still like 7.5 games out of a playoff spot, so they still have a lot of work to do there. But they are making a case to potentially not be complete and total sellers at the deadline, but we'll see what happens with that. Going and looking towards this series that starts tomorrow against the Mets. It is Orioles versus Mets in Baltimore, 3-game series there. Obviously, the Mets have been one of the best teams in baseball. They're 52-39. They're one of the best teams, not only in the National League, but in baseball in general. They have a high-powered offense. Their pitching's been great. But it's going to be Clay Holmes, who is, very familiar for the Orioles. He was a reliever and closer for the Yankees for quite a while. But Clay Holmes versus Brandon Young. So Brandon Young having to get the start because obviously just so many pitching injuries are happening. So, Brandon Young has not been good at all this year in his, 3 or 4 starts. So we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully he can go out there and just limit the runs as much as he can. But it is going to be very interesting to see what happens with that. But when you look at the series as a whole, it is going to be, again, Brandon Young versus Clay Holmes tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, it's going to be Sagano versus Peterson. And then on Thursday, it's going to be Charlie Morton versus an unknown pitcher for the Mets. They haven't selected their guy yet, so that's going to be cool. And then also looking ahead to this Saturday, it is going to be Trevor Rogers playing against Miami for the first time since the trade, so that should be pretty cool to watch there. But again, the Orioles sweep the Braves, a huge series sweep. They needed that, and they have 6 games remaining until All-Star break. They're all at home. They have a 6-game homestand to close out this first half of the season going into All-Star break. They actually do play on ESPN on Wednesday as well. So they play 3 games against the Mets, 3 games against the Marlins. And I'm not going to lie, 4-2 minimum, 5-1 or 6-0 would be best case scenario for this Orioles team. They have to close out this first half of the season strong. And that means that they have to they have to win both series. They have to go out there, beat the Mets, and take at least two out from the Mets, and take at least 2 from Miami. And then we'll see what happens with that. Again, they have to win both of these series. They cannot afford to lose another series up until really the trade deadline. So there's a lot of pressure on the Orioles, but they created this themselves, and they go out and sweep Atlanta. That's a great start, but they got to keep going and keep winning games. But thank you guys so much for tuning into and listening to this episode of Birds of a Feather. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe on YouTube and follow up on Spotify. And also check the whatever platform you're listening on. Make sure to click the link in the bio to check out the socials on Instagram or on X. I'm live tweeting every single game on X, so you can look at live reactions from me on there. And I also post updates on Instagram about every single time that I post an episode, so make sure to give those a follow. Also, subscribe on YouTube and like the video as well, and then follow up on Spotify Spotify. I appreciate you guys so much for all the support you guys have given me. I really do appreciate it. I'm having a ton of fun doing this show. Obviously, the Orioles are just coming off of a sweep. They have a day off, and then we're back at it again tomorrow. So see you guys tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great rest of y'all's day. And again, go O's, go Ravens. I'll see you later. Peace out.